What's going on, everybody? Marvel the Cross 316 back with another comic book flashback. And today, folks, we are looking at The Amazing Spider-Man issue number 113. This issue came out in July of 1972, and the date here is October of 1972 on the cover here. And today we are going to be seeing a first appearance. That's right, a first appearance of a brand new villain. And I'm not going to reveal that villain right now. You're going to have to wait later into the video to see who this villain is. But we got one heck of a great issue to look at. We got Spider-Man fighting Doc Ock. It's going to be an awesome issue to look at. So do not turn away from this video because we are going to definitely look at this awesome story, as this was brought to you by the great John Romita, who did the penciling and artwork, as well as Jerry Conway on the script here. And so let's go ahead now and continue this series we picked up last issue with Spider-Man picking up this harness here, this muscle enhancer harness. And he just so happened to run into the villainous himself, the big villain, big bad Doc Ock. He is one of Spider-Man's oldest villains, and he is going to pose a great threat to Spider-Man in this issue. This issue brought to you by, the title here is They Call the Doctor Octopus. And so let's continue where we left off from issue 112, when Spider-Man just ran right smack in the middle with Doc Ock in a big confrontation here, because that harness belongs to Dr. Octavius and he wants it back. And he's going to do everything in his power to get it back. Well, last issue, you may have, if you haven't been keeping up, Peter Parker's Aunt May is missing. She went somewhere. He has no idea where she went. So there's this big mystery surrounding the disappearance of Aunt May. He hasn't gotten a lot of sleep. And on top of that, he's very weak. And so this is a very bad time for him to run into one of his deadliest villains right now. And on top of that, New York City is being hammered here with this crime wave. There's these two competing crime waves or gangs. And Peter, as Spider-Man, is trying to figure out who the heck is involved with this. Well, we know for one thing that Doctor Octopus and his gang is involved, but who else is involved in this gang? We're going to find that out in this issue. Well, Spider-Man is playing a little bit of a cat and mouse game right now. He's trying his best to get away from Dr. Octopus. He's not in the best condition right now to fight, and Dr. Octopus definitely notices this, and he says that, "Beg, Spider-Man, beg for the mercy you'll never receive. Perhaps now you'll understand what a true enemy you've made. Unmerciful, uncompromising, and always unrelenting." And Spider-Man says, "Still so weak. Can't take this fighting. Everything's moving so fast. Gotta try and catch my balance, land on my feet." Well, he doesn't do that. And on top of that, the harness escapes Spider-Man and it lands on top of this pole here. Unaware of both Spider-Man and Dr. Octopus, they don't know where the harness went. Well, now Spider-Man is very vulnerable here. He's in a very, very vulnerable state. Here comes Dr. Octopus. And we just got some great action scenes, once again, drawn by the great John Romita Sr. Dr. Octopus is even able to take off the mask of Spider-Man here. And before he is able to see the identity of Spider-Man, his greatest foe, Spider-Man webs up his glasses, and it blinds Dr. Octopus just in time for Spider-Man to escape. And so Dr. Octopus has possession of Spider-Man's mask. That's not a good thing at all. Well, Peter doesn't really care at the moment. He is in such pain. He's woozy. He hasn't gotten a lot of sleep, like I said. Dr. Octopus down below looking for Spider-Man. He's just bewildered, like, where the heck did he go? But Peter, as you see here, in anguish, very big pain here, and he almost falls to his death here, and he just so happens to grab this ledge here. I mean, what the heck is wrong with Peter? Has the lack of sleep really gotten to him? Well, we're going to find out here very soon. We even see a side note that he hasn't felt this bad since Marvel Team Up issue number 4. I did a video on that, by the way, if you want to go back and rewatch the Marvel Team Up series I've been doing alongside with the Amazing Spider-Man. Go ahead and do that after this video. But anyways, let's continue the story here. We see that Doctor Octopus gets an alert from one of his henchmen here named Bernie. He says that they found the secret HQ. Who is the secret HQ of? We'll find that out here soon. Well, Peter's mask had fallen to the streets, and the person that picks up Spider-Man's mask just so happens to be Randy Robertson, the son of Joe Robertson, the editor of the Daily Bugle. And he is going to show his parents here that, hey, look what I just found. I think this is the real McCoy. And Joe Robertson is just astonished here, as you can see. Where in the world did you find that? And so now the Daily Bugle has possession of Spider-Man's mask. But like I said, Peter doesn't really care at the moment where his Spider-Man mask is. He just needs to get back to his apartment and get some sleep, because it's been days since he's gotten any sleep. He grabs his belongings here that he webbed to the wall. But meanwhile, we see here that Doctor Octopus and his henchmen are finally getting some more details about this other gang and who they're trying to hunt down. And it's at this nightclub here. And we see here Bernie here. He says, "I traced him with that gadget you gave me, and he's here all right. I think we got him this time, boss." And Doc Ock promises to give Bernie a bonus for his efforts. Well, what Doc Ock didn't know is that Bernie set up Doc Ock because one of the other rival gang members says that he needed to do it so that he could con Doc Ock and get him to the location. But unfortunately for Bernie meets a bullet to the chest here for his efforts. And so now we see these other rival gang members. They're going to alert their boss, and the boss's name is Mr. H, and that is short for none other than, that's right, Hammerhead. That's the big bad that we are introduced in this comic book here. In issue number 113, he makes his very first appearance. Hammerhead, he is this big gang leader, and he is the one that is the rival of Doc Ock and his gang. And so we see that Doc Ock goes to the location, and Doc Ock, as keen and aware as he is, he knows that he's been set up, and he goes in for the kill here. I mean, we got some awesome, great action scenes again. Doc Ock just going haywire here with his tentacles here, taking quick work of Hammerhead's men here. And so now Doc Ock says, "I'm afraid this means war." So Dr. Octopus has gone to war with Hammerhead. Meanwhile, Peter Parker gets back to the apartment. He collapses on his bed. He has a nightmare about Aunt May and the tentacles of Dr. Octopus surrounding him and the missing mask. All of a sudden, he is awakened by his girlfriend, Gwen Stacy, along with Harry Osborn and Dr. Bromwell. Dr. Bromwell comes to the apartment because, Peter's not the best situation right now. Well, Peter starts to panic here because Dr. Bromwell says, "I need to check your heart, I need to check your condition, take off your shirt, son." Well, underneath Peter Parker's shirt is his costume, so he has to carefully take off his shirt without revealing the Spider-Man outfit, and he does it very quickly here. Dr. Bromwell says, "My suspicions are correct. You have a nervous exhaustion, and because of that, you have an ulcer." And so he needs to definitely get some, rest here. But that's not the main concern of Peter Parker right now. He needs to go to the Daily Bugle and get some leads on where Aunt May is at. Where could Aunt May be? So he goes to the Daily Bugle, He gives um, J. Jonah Jameson some photos so he can get some money here. And J. Jonah Jameson's like, oh, this is a pretty good photo of Doc Ock fighting Spider-Man. Hopefully that'll be the last that we see of that costume menace. And then J. Jonah Jameson points, and there it is, the mask of Spider-Man. And Peter's like, oh no, my mask. He said, I can't grab it in front of everybody, but what can I do? All of a sudden, Ned Leeds says, hey, Pete, I just wanted to interest you in a lead I picked up. And it says about a domestic employment agency. And Peter's like, where, Leeds? You got to tell me where. And Leeds is like, take it easy, Parker. It's on the Lower East Side. And Peter's like, well, thanks, Ned. I wish I could stay, maybe even explain, but there's no time at all. And so Peter grabs his costume, puts it on. He notices that he can't swing into action without his mask, so he goes to this costume store and snags this fake Spider-Man mask. It has the eyes cut out so he can see. Although he can't breathe real well, it will have to do for now. And so Spider-Man's going to go to the location that Ned Leeds had given him. But unfortunately for Spider-Man, he's going to be encountered by the villain known as Doctor Octopus. Once again, Doc Ock and Spider-Man are going to go back into some action here. I mean, this story just has a lot of great action scenes by John Romita. Definitely a win here for any Marvel comic book lover. But anyways, we see Spider-Man is still pretty weak because of that ulcer that he's experiencing with the side pains. And all of a sudden, Doc Ock is met with some curiosity by Spider-Man, and that's because Spider-Man had found the harness, muscle enhancer harness, that he put on himself. And Spider-Man's going to go into action, and he is going to give one big pelting to Doctor Octopus, to the point where he knocks Doctor Octopus out cold. And Spider-Man, with all his strength, was able to tackle and defeat Doctor Octopus. But unfortunately for Spider-Man, he is met by none other than the deadly Hammerhead and his men here. And that is where we're going to leave off on this issue. Coming up next, folks, we have Spider-Man with the confrontation of Hammerhead. This is the first time that Spider-Man ever meets Hammerhead. And we're going to look at that as we continue the story in issue number 114. I hope you like this issue and the retelling of Amazing Spider-Man 113. And as always, drop a like on this video. If you have not seen my other Spider-Man videos, I'll put a link right over here so that you can look at them. And as always, subscribe if you have not, and I will see y'all in the next one.